sweet girl.
She pulled off the mask, and I froze. It wasn't some old woman, it was her, my mentor, my sister in training. But there was no time to ask why. I broke free and hurled myself into the river. She didn't chase. She straightened her clothes, calm as ever, as if I'd never escape her grasp. The cuts she gave me weren't fatal. She wanted me to bleed, to suffer, to fear. And on the streets of Bravos, every face became a threat. Any one of them could have been her. I found refuge with an actress. She cleaned my wounds, gave me food. For the first time in days, I slept. But by morning, she was dead, and my sister stood at the door. I ran through alleys, over walls, falling, rolling, my stitches tearing open again. Pain burned through me, but I forced myself to rise. I would not give her the satisfaction of my defeat. I stumbled into a dark room and barred the door. Moments later, she entered, smiling, certain she had me cornered.
It will all be over soon. On your knees or on your feet.
I drew needle. Darkness has been my companion for years. I've learned to see without sight, to fight where others falter. She hadn't. When it was over, her face was gone, and her head rested on the altar of the many-faced god.
A girl is Arya Stark of Winterfell, and I'm going home.
That night, I walked out of the House of Black and White, no longer an apprentice, but Arya Stark, ready to finish my list and claim the vengeance my family deserved.
When people ask you what happened here, tell them the North remembers. Tell them winter came for House Frey.
This was my revenge, the moment fans had been waiting for, season after season, and finally it was mine. I did what no other Stark could, from leaving Winterfell to hunting down my enemies. Every pain, every scar shaped me into who I am now. When I slit Walder Frey's throat, I knew it wasn't over, not yet. In the same hall at the Twins, he gathered his family for a feast, thinking he had won, but he had no idea. The Red Wedding didn't wipe us all out. One wolf survived, and as long as a wolf still breeds, the sheep will never be safe. That wolf was me. I took his face. I poisoned the wine. One by one, every Frey man dropped. As a faceless assassin, my plan was flawless. But I spared the women. They needed to live, to remember what happened that night. When it was done, I didn't head home. I turned south. Cersei was next on my list. To me, Winterfell was already lost to the Boltons. On the road, I stumbled upon a group of Lannister soldiers. They were singing by the fire and invited me to join. I expected cruelty, but instead I saw kindness. The old me would have killed them without a thought. But now, even with all I'd learned, I still held on to some piece of mercy. Just like I spared the Frey women, I sat and drank with men I once called enemies. When I joked about killing Cersei, the fire went quiet. They laughed it off. None of them believed it. How could they? Who would ever think this harmless little girl had just wiped out an entire house? The next day, I reached the inn at the crossroads, and there I ran into Hot Pie, the same boy I parted ways with years ago. He cooked me a meal and then dropped the news that changed everything. Jon Snow had won the Battle of the Bastards. The Boltons were gone. Winterfell once again flew the Stark banner. Hearing that, I turned north. For the first time in years, family came before vengeance. The list kept me alive, but my family was the reason I fought. On the way, my horse grew restless. I drew needle and found myself surrounded by wolves. They didn't attack. They were waiting. Then I turned and saw her. Snow white fur, eyes I knew all too well. Nymeria. I sent her away years ago. Now she was a queen, leading a pack.
I'm heading north, girl. Back to Winterfell. I'm finally going home. Come with me.
She recognized me, and I knew it, but we were different now. Neither of us could go back. She walked away, and I let her. Days later, I finally saw it. Winterfell, the home I had dreamed of for so long. This time, there was no betrayal, no ambush, only warmth. Because now, the Stark children weren't victims. We were leaders, stronger than ever.
Hey up, where are you going?
In there. I live here.
Fuck off.
I'm Arya Stark. This is my home.
After years of wandering like a lone wolf, I finally came home. But Winterfell, it wasn't the same place I once knew. At the gates, the guards looked at me with suspicion. To them, I was just a dusty stranger, certainly not the long-lost daughter of House Stark. Their swords came up, their words were sharp, as if my home had forgotten me. I didn't fight. I simply told them to fetch Sansa. For too long, I had hidden my name, buried my bloodline, and now I no longer had to. But standing inside those walls, my chest ached. This castle had haunted my dreams, and now it treated me like an intruder. While they argued, I slipped away. My feet led me to the crypts. There, beneath the cold stone, I found Father's statue. His silent gaze struck me harder than any blade. That's where Sansa found me. We didn't cry. We didn't shout. Just a fragile smile, a cautious embrace, both of us hiding the storm in our hearts. I broke the silence by asking about Joffrey. After all, he had been first on my list of names to kill, though someone else had beaten me to it. Sansa thought I was joking. To her, I was still the little sister who liked swords. But then Bran appeared and proved her wrong. The three-eyed raven knows everything. The past, the present, the secrets no one dares speak. He recited my journey, even the truth about Cersei being on my list. There was no more hiding.
Who else is on your list?
Most of them are dead already.
Bran handed me a dagger, Valyrian steel, cold, sharp, and heavy with history. Littlefinger had gifted it, but not out of kindness. He didn't realize this blade would one day decide the fate of the realm. The one I longed most to see was Jon, but he was far away, forging alliances at Dragonstone. So instead, I turned to Brienne. She had sworn to protect Sansa, but I wanted to test myself.
It's been a while since I trained.
I can go and find the Master of Arms to you, my lady.
He didn't beat the Hound. You did. I want to train with you.
At first, she refused, afraid to harm me. But an oath is an oath. And so, steel met steel. Every strike, every counter I made was forged from years of running, bleeding, surviving. When my blade touched her throat, the shock in her eyes was priceless. Even Sansa, watching from above, realized I was no longer the little girl who had left Winterfell. But my return unsettled others. Littlefinger, his smile never reached his eyes. I followed him through the shadows until I found the letter he had planted. A letter written by Sansa years ago. A plea for Robb to bend the knee, to swear loyalty to Joffrey. My blood boiled, no matter the reason. Betrayal of family cut deeper than any wound. I confronted her. She claimed she was just a child, but I reminded her Lyanna Mormont had been younger and still bore her duty with unshakable resolve. Excuses meant nothing to me. What she feared most wasn't me knowing the truth. It was me revealing it to the Northern Lords, stripping her of all respect. And in that fear, Littlefinger whispered poison in her ear. One night, she crept into my chambers, searching for the letter, but what she found were faces, masks of the dead. She froze, horrified as I stepped from the shadows. I told her those were not what she was looking for. To ease her fear, I spoke of our childhood dreams. She had wanted to be a queen beside her king. I had wanted to be a knight-like father. Neither of us had become what we once imagined. But me, I had become something else entirely. A girl who could wear any face, speak with any voice, and live behind another's skin, even hers.
I wonder what it would feel like to wear those pretty dresses. To be the Lady of Winterfell. All I'd need to find out is your face.
I placed the dagger in her hand, not as a threat, but as truth. In that moment, she finally understood. I wasn't just her little sister anymore. I was a faceless one, and I was someone she could never truly control.
Are you sure you want to do this?
It's not what I want. It's what honor demands.
And what does honor demand?
That I defend my family from those who would harm us. That I defend the North from those who would betray us.
I always knew Littlefinger was weaving lies. He thought he could play us like pawns, me and Sansa, trapped in his game, but he never realized we were setting the trap for him. When the trial began, he sat there smirking, waiting to watch sisters tear each other apart. But then Sansa spoke his name, the shock on his face, priceless. He thought we'd made a mistake. He thought his secrets were safe, but Sansa laid them bare. How he poisoned Jon Arryn, how he framed the Lannisters and started a war, how he betrayed our father, handing him to Cersei, and how he murdered Lisa, throwing her through the moon door. He denied it all, desperate, but Bran was there, and Bran sees everything, past, present, truth. When he repeated Littlefinger's own words to Father, the color drained from Peter's face. That's when I stepped forward. I held the dagger, the very blade once meant to kill Bran. The look in Littlefinger's eyes told me he knew the game was over. He begged, he pleaded, crawling at Sansa's feet. But we weren't children anymore. This time, he had no power over us.
Thank you for all your many lessons, Lord Baelish. I will never forget them.
Sansa delivered the sentence, and I was the blade. When his blood hit the cold stone floor, I felt no joy, only closure. Later, Sansa and I stood on Winterfell's walls. She'll always carry the weight of leadership. I'll never be a lady. My path is steel, shadows, and silence. But no matter how different we are, Father's words bind us. Winter is coming, and the pack survives.